So thank you, Lee and Beth Ann, for really helping us understand better opportunities for pediatric drug development and how to take some novel approaches to that. We now have our panel discussion, and really all the speakers and our panel members. We have an industry panel that will speak with us. Each industry representative will speak for 5 or 10 minutes about how they incorporate a family perspective, including PROs. And so if the panel members could step up to the table now, and the speakers as well, and we'll begin with the panel, industry panel. Okay, to begin with our industry panel, let's see. Yeah, if you come up. Okay. Our first speaker is from Genentech, Christina Theodore Oklota.
Thank you.
Okay.
Most don't get that. So I'd like to thank Rebecca and the Institute of Medicine for inviting me here to talk today a little bit about how Genentech is addressing some of the patient-centered concerns that we've heard about. So working as a pediatric psychologist in several hospitals across the country, I was lucky to be invited on the treatment journey with so many wonderful patients and families. While each journey is different, many share the same information or same struggles around collecting information around patient-centered outcomes. So how bad is the diarrhea really from other patients? And while I'm on treatment, can I actually see my friends? And despite looking everywhere, frequently the information they found was anecdotal and not collected with any rigor, if it was even collected at all. It left me thinking there has to be a better way to collect and disseminate this information to patients and families. And that's what led me to industry, and specifically Genentech's pediatric team. So as an industry, to be frank, we have mostly failed in the last several years when both collecting patient-centered outcomes in pediatric clinical trials and disseminating these data post-trial. It's really hard to communicate data that you just don't have. And I agree with what Lillian has said, actually so much so it's kind of scary, about gaps in understanding patient reports in pediatric and how behind we are compared to the adult cancer world. We've often not asked patients the questions, and if we did, we asked too many items, or we asked the wrong person to tell us about treatment effects. We did not ask long enough to really understand the long-term effects. It did not share what we found in accessible ways so patients and families can make an educated decision about their treatment when comparing potential options. And so while I agree with these shortcomings to date, I feel that we are actually poised to make a tremendous leap forward in the coming years. Acknowledging what we have not done is the best way to lay a solid foundation to do things right and even better moving forward. Decades of adult studies provide us of knowledge what works and what doesn't. Using that and all of the feedback that we've received from clinicians, patients, families, and advocacy groups like yourselves, saying we want data and we're willing to provide this to you, we can turn this challenge into a tremendous opportunity. And that is why I'm so excited to be part of Genentech's innovative pediatric drug development team, where we're equally focused on evaluating the efficacy of treatments in clinical trials as we are on quantifying the impact of treatment from the patient's perspective. And this perspective helps us understand the burden of side effects, health-related quality of life, and the impact of cognitive and psychosocial effects, coming from the psychologist who can't say it. Furthermore, our efforts reach beyond quantifying the time while being treated on a clinical trial to understand and quantifying long-term effects well after study drug exposure has ended. The innovative aspect of Genentech's pediatric team is one of the things that gets me out of bed in the morning. Recognizing that being involved in a clinical trial can be taxing and full of assessments, we are trying to enhance this experience by developing new technology and mobile applications that increase patient engagement by reducing the burden of assessments, while also providing easily accessible, reliable information to patients and families about their treatment and about their disease. Working collaboratively with pediatric patients, we are focused on developing ways to measure patient-reported impact of side effects across age groups in a more efficient way, asking fewer questions while targeting those things that matter most. And we're using this patient-centered data to make decisions as we move molecules forward. Following and collecting data long-term after treatment has its own unique set of challenges, and as part of our long-term initiative, we're working to utilize technology to conduct annual assessments with limited burden to patients, and also use it as a forum to communicate trial data back to patients as we have it available to share. Deciding on what treatment or protocol to go on is one of the most important decisions a family can make, and we want to arm you with as much data as possible. From efficacy to understanding side effects to what patients say it's really like to be on treatment, so families can make an educated and informed decision about their treatment. Dissemination is a key goal of our program, making sure that we communicate the data back to families who participated in the trial, but also those families who are faced with making these future decisions. And really, none of this can be possible without the input and collaboration from from academics, clinicians, patient advocacy community, and patients. You, the patient, are the expert on what it's like to be on treatment, and no one else can convey that to us, and that is why we need your help and feedback to make these programs successful. I'm hopeful that today is the start of a continuing dialogue and shared communication to enhance the patient experience on pediatric clinical trials, ensuring that we collect data that's informative to you, and developing technology and tools that you need to feel empowered to proactively engage in your treatment experience. Thanks.